Namaste. So, I am Mohini and would like to continue with the age of associations. And as usual, a short prayer. O God, thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for everything that you have given us. May we be happy. May we find a reason to smile. And may our soul smile through our heart and our heart smile through our eyes. So, I will start with the associations. And in my last class, I had finished the two associations. That is, I finished the Bangabasa Prakashika Sabha of 1836, and I also finished about the Zamindari Association of 1837. So now we'll continue with the other associations that was formed in India at that time. So, the next association that was formed was the Bharath Sabha or Indian Association. And it was formed on 26th of July 1876 by Surendra Nath Banerjee in the Albert Hall, which is today a coffee shop in Kolkata. And Ananda Mohan Bose was the secretary of this Indian Association. And in this Indian Association, there are 4 aims. And this 4 aims usually comes for the exams. What are the 4 aims of the Indian Association? So the 4 aims of the Indian Association are, number 1, to create public opinion. Number 2, to encourage people to take part in the national movement. Number 3, to create friendliness between the Hindus and the Muslims. And number 4, to establish unity in the whole of India. So these were the 4 aims of the Indian Association. And this Indian Association is known as the forerunner of the Indian National Congress. And it also helped to spread political consciousness, political unity among the people. And why it is called the forerunner of the Indian National Congress, which was established in 1885, is because it was because of this Indian Association that it was easy to form the Indian National Congress in Mumbai in 1885. It helped in the establishment of the Indian National Congress. So that is why it is known as the forerunner of the Indian National Congress. Besides, this Indian Association also supported the Ilbert Bill, because in India, when Lord Ripon was the Governor General, at that time there was a lot of difference between the Indian judge and the European judge. So Ripon wanted to remove this difference between the Indian and the European judge. So, Lord Ripon told Ilbert to make the bill in support of the Indian people to remove the difference. So as a result, this association supported the Ilbert bill, and it protested against the lowering of the age from 21 to 19 for the ICS examination. The Indians used to sit for ICS examination. It was mostly held in England, and it was later on also held in India. And if the Indians qualified, or if anyone qualified for this examination, they would become the civil servants. They would become the civil servant officers. So at that time, this the British wanted to lower the age so that Indians will not be able to compete with the British. But the Indians wanted the age to be increased so that the Indians can be matured by the age of 21 and they can they can sit for the examination and qualify for the examination. So that is, another important thing behind this Indian Association. And Surendranath Banerjee, he wrote the journal Bengali, and it was in this Bengali that he tried to inspire the people with the feeling of nationalism. He tried to inculcate the feeling of nationalism among the people of India, and he gave importance to pan-Indian movement, that is unity among the Indians. So this is about the Indian Association. Now, the last association that I will be dealing is the Hindu Mela. It was called the Hindu Mela, and regarding its formation is that there was one person called Raj Narayan Bose, and he is known as the pioneer of Indian nationalism. Pioneer means the person who started nationalism. So he was the one to start nationalism, so he's known as the pioneer of Indian nationalism, and he's known as the grandfather of Indian nationalism. Whereas Bankim Chandra Chatterjee is known as the father of Indian nationalism, Raj Narayan Bose is known as the grandfather of Indian Association. He's known as a grandfather of nationalism, grandfather of nationalism. And at that time, it was Naba Gopal Mitra, who made the word national popular among the people. And he studied some of the works of Raj Narayan Bose. He got very inspired, so he formed the Jatiya Mela, and later on the Jatiya Mela was transformed into the Hindu Mela in 1867. So the Hindu Mela was formed in 1867, and this Hindu Mela gave importance to many things, like it gave importance to self-sufficiency, to be self-dependent, then it gave importance to political consciousness, political unity, then it gave importance to improvement of economy of India. So all these things were stressed by this Hindu Mela. But the Hindu Mela had many limitations. It did not survive for long. And the main reason why it did not survive for long is because it gave importance to Hindu nationalism, which led to communalism with other religions. So as a result, the Hindu Mela did not remain for long. So this is about the Hindu Mela. And another thing here in this Hindu Mela, the secretary was Guneन्द्rnath Tagore was the secretary, and Nabagopal Mitra was the assistant secretary of this Hindu Mela. So with this, I've come to the end of the associations of the 19th century Bengal. Now, after the associations, I'll be dealing with the last topic, very important topic, and that is about the literature and art, expression of nationalism in literature and art, expression of nationalism in literature and art. How literature tried to portray the culture of Bengal, how it tried to inspire the people with a feeling of nationalism, love for one's country, patriotic feeling for one's country. So now we are going to deal with the literature. So the first literature that was very famous at that time is Anandamath of Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. Anandamath of Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. It was written in 1882, and this Anandamath was very famous. It is famous even today, and it is said that Barrister Pramanath Mitra, he studied the Anandamath, and after studying the Anandamath, he became so inspired with the term Anushilan Samiti. So he formed one separate organization in Bengal, which was known as the Anushilan Samiti in 1902. And so the revolutionaries of the Anushilan Samiti, they used to regard Anandamath as their Bible. So Anandamath became like a Bible for the revolutionaries of Bengal. And this in Anandamath, we see there are two figures who shows the character of strength, who are very strong and brave people, and one is Satyananda, the hero of Anandamath, and another is Shanti. And Satyananda, he shows militant nationalism. Militant nationalism means to take up arms and to fight against the British. So, with the mantra of Bande Mataram in the lip, he used to take up arms and used to fight against the British. And that inspired many revolutionaries. So, as a result, later on when the movement started, the revolutionaries took this mantra and then they fought against the British. They said Bande Mataram, and then they went and fought against the British with their arms and weapons. And even Shanti was a very brave lady, and it is said that she was very efficient in jumping into the horse, and like any other horseman, she used to ride on the horse, and she showed her bravery and courage in this Anandamath. And at that time, in 1875, Surendranath Banerjee requested Bankim Chandra Chatterjee to write Bande Mataram. So Bankim Chandra wrote Bande Mataram in 1875. He wrote in 1875, and later on when he wrote Anandamath in 1882, this Bande Mataram became a new chapter in the book, which was known as Anandamath. A new chapter was added later, when Bankim Chandra wrote Anandamath in 1882. And this Bande Mataram became a guiding force, and today this Bande Mataram is a national song, and it portrays motherland, it portrays India, a motherland. And along with Anandamath, Bankim Chandra also wrote another novel. This was a novel, Anandamath. So he also wrote another novel. It is called Raj Singha. In the same year, 1882, he wrote Raj Singha, but Raj Singha did not become so popular. It was Anandamath that became very popular. And in Anandamath, Bankim Chandra not only wrote about militant nationalism, but he also highlighted about the sannyasi revolt, how the sannyasis, they revolted, how they fought against the British, and also he wrote about the famine in Bengal in 1770. There was a very big famine in Bengal in 1770, and it is said that about 3 lakhs of people were killed in this famine. And the people had no food to eat. So since they had no food to eat, they went from the village, people went from the village to the streets of Calcutta, and there they begged for water from boiled rice, not rice. They couldn't think of getting rice at that time, but they begged for water from rice. That means bhat ko maar unali magyu, so that they could survive. So that is what was written here in this Anandamath, and this Anandamath helped to protest unitedly against despotism of the British, and since it inspired with the feeling of nationalism, so the British banned this book. Anandamath was banned by the British. And Rabindranath Tagore says that there are 3 books which helped in the spread of political movement, which helped the political movement to become strong. And the 3 books are, one is Gita, the message of Krishna, and the other is the writings of Swami Vivekananda, and the 3rd book is this Anandamath of Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. And Bankim Chandra Chatterjee gives a message to the people, and the message is that we should consider India as a mother, patriotism as a religion, and service to the country as worship. So we have to serve our country as best as we can. We have to be good citizens, as I have already told in the earlier class also, be a good citizen. That is very important. So this is the message that was portrayed by Bankim Chandra Chatterjee in Anandabad. Then the next literature was an essay, and it was Bartaman Bharat. Essay, it was Bartaman Bharat, and it was written in 1899 by Swami Vivekananda. And so this was, I told you, an essay. But later on in 1905, Swami Sudhananda also wrote Bartaman Bharat, but it was a book. But the writing of Swami Vivekananda was Bartaman Bharat, but it was only an essay written in 1899. And in this Bartaman Bharat, Swami Vivekananda gives us a message, and that is, he says that the lower class people had become very enlightened, and a time would come when the lower class people would rule over India. And he was very touched to see about the plight of the poor people. He wanted the removal of casteism in India, and he wanted people to consider themselves as brothers, that we are all brothers. Fraternity he wanted to establish in India. And beside that, he also highlighted about the sacrifice made by Sita, the sacrifice made by Savitri, and about the bondage of love between Nala and Damayanti. So, the epic he highlighted the Indian epic in this Bartaman Bharat. Nowadays children, they don't have any interest in epic, but during our time, when we were small, we so excited to watch Ramayana and Mahabharata in the TV. So excited we used to be, and we used to watch the whole serial. But now there are a lot of distractions, and children, they don't have so much interest in the epic. And beside this, what Swami Vivekananda tried to give importance to is, he said, to cherish the feeling of self-respect and a sense of pride in being an Indian. We should be proud that we are an Indian. Be proud that you are an Indian. Even the lowliest and even the poorest should be proud that they are an Indian. And in the concluding paragraph of Bartaman Bharat, he had given a message of Swadesh Mantra. And in this Swadesh Mantra, he told the Indians to love the heritage, to preserve the heritage of India. And he gave one important message, that is, to awake, arise, and stop not till the goal is reached. So, we have to work hard to reach our goal. We should chase our dreams. We should chase our dreams. We should try to materialize our goal. You all are students. You all must be having a goal, an ambition. So it is very good to have an ambition. Some of you want to become doctors, some engineers, some teachers, some nurse. So we have to dream big, and we have to materialize our goal. And this you can do only by studying. You have to work hard. Without hard work, you cannot achieve anything. So this is the message that we get from Bartaman Bharat. And another very important message is that we should be proud that we are an Indian. So this is about Bartaman Bharat. Then the next is about Gora. There is also a novel, and it was written in 1910, in the beginning of the 20th century, by Rabindranath Tagore. And in this Gora, what Rabindranath Tagore has highlighted, he said that the Bengali people were in doubt, and they were in conflict about the social, moral, and national issues. The Bengali educated people had militant spirit. They wanted to fight, take up arms and fight. They had that militancy, and they had that narrow-mindedness and arrogance, pride, that they are Western educated. So that narrowness and pride was there. So Rabindranath Tagore did not believe in militancy. He did not believe in narrowness, pride. He wanted to do away with all this, and he wanted to promote larger humanism among the people of India. He wanted people to be humane. that is to be compassionate. We have to be compassionate to each other. Compassion means highest form of love. We must show love to each other. So this is what he wanted to convey in this Gora. And in this Gora we see there is a little small boy. He has been adopted in the Hindu family. And he is a devout Hindu. That means he is a true follower of Hindu. And he is out to fight an all-out war to protect Hinduism. But he gets a shock of his life. And what is the shock of the life? What is the shock that he gets in his life? The shock is that he realizes that he is not an Indian, but he is an Irish. He realizes that he is an Irish. And that time, this revelation, this experience, destroys his pride, destroys his narrow-mindedness, and he is brought back to the casteless and a liberal society. And this Gora is also an epic where it shows consciousness and a search for truth in India. So this is about Gora. That means we should consider all religions as important. All religions are important. So that is about Gora. Then the next is about Bharat Mother, and it is not a novel, it is not a book, it is an art, and it was made by Abanindranath Tagore, the nephew of Rabindranath Tagore. So it is an image of Bharat Mata. And Abanindranath Tagore was a very famous person. He was known as the father of Bengali art, and whatever he created with his brush became painting, whatever he created with his words became literature. And this Bharat Mata is famous not only in India, but it is famous all the world over. Bharat Mata is famous all the world over. Over the world it is famous. And in this Bharat Mata we see it is a watercolor. He uses watercolor, and he has made a goddess, and she has a very saintly face. She wears saffron clothes, orange clothes, and she has 4 hands, 2 on the left and 2 on the right. On her left hand she has a book, she has a bundle of paddy, that is a bundle of rice. Then she has 2 pieces of clothes, and she has a rosary, or she has a rudraksh. So she has 4 hands, and she is the god of prosperity. And what does it show? This painting shows that it is God who gives us knowledge, who gives us clothes, who gives us food, and who gives us religion. So we should be grateful to God. So this is what is revealed here, and it is said that this Bharat Mata became the embodiment of gods and goddesses in India. And one Irish lady, Sister Nivedita, she was the patron of this art. She was a supporter of this art, Bharat Mata, and she wanted the painting to be carried from Kashmir in the north to Kanyakumari in the south, in order to inspire people with a feeling of patriotism and nationalism. So this is how this Bharat Mata is very, very famous painting of Abanindranath Tagore. Then the last thing is about the cartoons of Gajanindranath Tagore. The cartoons of Gajanindranath Tagore. And Gajanindranath Tagore, he was the elder brother of Abanindranath Tagore. Abanindranath Tagore's elder brother was Gajanindranath Tagore, and he is famous for cartoons, and he learned about Japanese art, Bengali art, and he is famous for making cartoons. And Gajanindranath, what he gave importance is that he was against colonial rule, and he was also against the Babu culture, and he wanted the people of Bengal to have fondness for Indian culture. Because once the people got Western education, then they imitated Western education and they forgot their own culture. So he wanted the people of India, educated people, to have fondness for the Indian culture. That is why he made a lot of cartoons. And one cartoon of Gajanendra Nath Tagore is very famous, and that is the cartoon of the university machine. I don't have the picture of university machine, even in the book we don't have, so I cannot show you. But this university machine is, you know, the picture is, you know, it is in a shape of a book. Books are piled one on top of the other, and a university is formed. And in this, you know, picture, you see that, you know, there is a gate, and just outside the gate, Indians are all standing outside the gate, and you know, they are all wearing Indian clothes. They are wearing dhoti, kurta pajama. Some are barefoot, and some are wearing slippers and all. And then they are all standing on the gate, in the gate, for the gate to open. Then there is, on top of the gate, there is a clock, and the clock shows that it is 10:30. And you know, just above the gate, there are two pillars, and there are, you know, statues of two people. One is wearing Indian clothes, another is wearing the Western clothes, and perhaps they could be the owners of the university. Smoke is coming out from the university, and you see that from in between the books, piles of books, you see people, you know, coming out. They are flattened and they are crippled, and flattened and crippled people, they come out from in between the books, but they are totally different people, because their attire, their clothes is absolutely different. They are wearing Western clothes. So what Gajanendra Nath Tagore wants to show through this cartoon is that, you know, when the university opens at 10:30, the Indians with Indian dress, they go and they get education. And once they get Western education, they become brainwashed, and they forget their culture, they forget their heritage, and they become like Western people. So it is this that has been portrayed here. So it is like, also I can say that, you know, it is like, you know, a grinding machine. You know, university is like a grinding machine. Grinding machine means, you know, in Nepali, you know, in those days we didn't have the grinding machine. In Nepali we say jhato. So what happens is that when you put corn, you know, when you put wheat into it, then you grind it. Then what happens is that when you grind it, then you get flour. You get either flour of corn, or you get, you know, flour from wheat. So what happens is that, you know, what he wants to show is, you know, entirely, you know, different, because you put corn, but the product is something different, flour you get. So in the same way here also in the university, Indians went into the university, but when they came out after getting Western education, they were completely changed. They had forgotten everything, their culture, heritage, and they become Western. So this sad picture was portrayed by Gajanendra Nath Tagore in his cartoon, which is known as the University Machine. So with this, I finished the topic, but you know, there are some questions that come from this chapter, and the questions that come from this chapter is like, when did the revolt actually spark off? When did the revolt of 1857 actually start? Then the answer is, you have to say 10 of May 1857, it started from Meerut. Then another question you can say is, that comes from this chapter is, what is Sepoy Mutiny? Sepoy Mutiny is the revolt of the Sepoys. And another is, you know, when was the Act for Better Government of India passed? It was passed on 2nd of August 1858. Then another, what is Queen's Proclamation? It is an announcement made on behalf of Queen Victoria by Lord Canning. So that was, you know, that is the answer. It was the Act for Better Government of India. passed on 2nd of August 1858. Then who was the first Viceroy of India? Then you have to say Lord Canning was the first Viceroy of India. Then that is the thing. And another thing is that you also sometimes get long questions from Anandamath. Write about Anandamath, or sometimes they might say write about Gora, or write about the cartoons of Gajanindranath Tagore. So these all are the questions that comes from this topic. And this year the question that came was, in the earlier class I did the attitude of the middle class intelligentsia towards the revolt. That question came. And so these all are the topic that you will have to do in this chapter. So I end my class here, and what I would like to say is that you be happy, as I told in the last class also. Be happy, don't be depressed. And I would like to just sing 2 lines again to keep you happy, and that is, I'll start the song. Happiness, happiness, the greatest gift that I possess. I thank the Lord that I've been blessed with more than my share of happiness. To me, this world is a wonderful place. I'm the luckiest human in the human race. I've got no gold, I've got no silver, but I've got happiness in my soul. Happiness, happiness, the greatest gift that I possess. I thank the Lord that I've been blessed with more than my share of happiness. A wise old man told me one day, happiness is a frame of mind. When you go measuring a man's success, don't count money, count happiness. Thank you. Have a good day.